Hi, my name is Emily, and I want to share how learning English completely changed my life. A few years ago, I was at one of the lowest points of my life. After my divorce, I found myself starting from scratch with my 6-year-old daughter, Sophie. Life felt overwhelming, and I was unsure how to move forward. But looking back now, I realize how one decision turned everything around. At that time, everything seemed like a challenge. I was juggling work, taking care of Sophie, and trying to keep our small apartment running. There were nights I would cry, wondering how I could provide her with the future she deserved. I knew I needed to do something drastic to improve our situation. That's when I started thinking about my career and what was holding me back. I worked as a designer of interiors, something I had always loved, but I was stuck in small local projects. One day, I heard about a position with a bigger company that worked with international clients. They required fluent English, something I didn't have at the time. It felt like a door slammed shut in my face, but it also planted a seed of determination in my heart. I remember sitting on my couch that night, thinking about Sophie. I couldn't let her down. I wanted her to grow up proud of her mom, knowing that challenges can be overcome. That was the moment I decided I would learn English, no matter how hard it seemed or how long it would take. Being a designer had always been a dream of mine. I loved creating beautiful spaces and helping people bring their visions to life. But after the divorce, my career felt stuck. I was working on small local projects that barely paid the bills. It was frustrating because I knew I had more to offer, but I couldn't seem to break into bigger opportunities. The moment that really hit me was during a meeting with a potential client. They mentioned needing someone who could communicate with their international partners. I felt embarrassed because I knew I couldn't do that. I had to turn down the chance to work on a dream project because of my lack of English skills. That day, I promised myself I wouldn't let that happen again. I began researching opportunities in the field of interior design, and I was amazed at how many involved English. Many companies had clients from all over the world, and they needed someone who could present ideas and collaborate effectively. It became clear that if I wanted to grow, English wasn't optional. It was essential. Still, the idea of learning English felt overwhelming. I hadn't studied it seriously in school, and I was afraid of failing. But every time I looked at Sophie, I reminded myself why I had to do it. It wasn't just about getting better jobs. It was about showing her that we can overcome anything if we try hard enough. The day I decided to learn English was both exciting and terrifying. I had no idea where to start, but I knew I couldn't wait any longer. I signed up for an online course, choosing something flexible enough to fit into my busy schedule. It felt strange at first, sitting at my desk with Sophie, doing her homework next to me. But I told myself this was the beginning of something new. At first, it was incredibly hard. I struggled to pronounce words and often felt embarrassed when I got things wrong. There were moments when I wanted to quit, especially after long days at work. But I kept reminding myself why I started. I wasn't just learning for me, I was learning for Sophie and the future we deserved. One night, I came across a motivational video online. It said, "The best investment you can make is in yourself." Those words stayed with me. Every time I felt discouraged, I repeated them like a mantra. Slowly but surely, I started to see progress. I could understand simple phrases and even say a few sentences. The little victories kept me going. I remember the first time I ordered something in English at a coffee shop. It was a small thing, but it felt like I had climbed a mountain. Each step forward, no matter how small, made me believe that I could really do this. Learning English became a part of my daily routine. In the mornings, I listened to short lessons while preparing breakfast for Sophie. During lunch breaks at work, I practiced vocabulary on my phone. At night, after putting Sophie to bed, I studied grammar and practiced speaking out loud. It wasn't easy, but I made it a priority. The hardest part was feeling like I wasn't good enough. There were times when I compared myself to others who seemed to learn so much faster. But I realized that comparing wouldn't help me move forward. Instead, I focused on my own progress, no matter how slow it felt. Every new word learned was a step closer to my goal. Sophie was my biggest cheerleader. She would sit next to me and draw pictures while I practiced. Sometimes she'd giggle at my pronunciation, but in the sweetest way. "Mom, you're doing great," she'd say. Her encouragement meant the world to me and gave me the strength to keep going. I also started watching movies and listening to songs in English. It made learning fun and showed me how the language was used in real life. Little by little, I began to understand more. It was like a door opening to a whole new world of possibilities I had never imagined. Of course, the journey wasn't without challenges. Balancing work, parenting, and studying felt impossible at times. There were nights when I was so exhausted that I fell asleep with my books still open. Sometimes I questioned if all the effort was worth it. But then I would think about Sophie and the life I wanted for her. One of the biggest obstacles was self-doubt. I often wondered if I was too old to learn something new or if I was wasting my time. But I reminded myself that every expert was once a beginner. I wasn't aiming for perfection. I was aiming for progress. Another challenge was staying consistent. Life gets busy, and it's easy to let things slip. But I learned that small, daily efforts add up. Even 15 minutes of practice a day made a difference. I kept a journal to track my progress, and seeing how far I'd come gave me the motivation to keep going. The support of my friends and family also helped. A coworker once said, "Emily, I'm so proud of you for taking this step." That encouragement pushed me forward. Slowly, the challenges became stepping stones, and I started to believe that I could truly achieve my goal. As I kept learning, I started noticing small wins that made all the effort worthwhile. The first time I understood a full conversation in English at work felt like a huge milestone. My coworkers noticed my progress and started asking me to help with small tasks that involve English, like writing emails or understanding instructions. Each little task boosted my confidence. Sophie continued to be my biggest cheerleader. One day, she made a card that said, "Mom is the best at English." It was a simple gesture, but it gave me so much motivation to keep going. Knowing that she was proud of me reminded me why I started this journey in the first place. Her excitement about my progress fueled my determination. I also began joining online groups to practice speaking English with other learners. It was scary at first, but everyone was so supportive. These groups became a safe space where I could make mistakes and improve. I even made friends from other countries, which made the experience even more exciting. One of the most memorable moments was when Sophie and I watched a movie in English without subtitles. I could understand most of it and even explain parts to her. She looked at me with wide eyes and said, "Wow, Mom, you're amazing." It felt like I was finally turning a corner in my journey. After months of hard work, I finally had a chance to put my English skills to the test. At work, a new project came up involving an international client. My boss hesitated, but eventually asked if I could join the meeting as a backup interpreter. I was nervous but excited for the opportunity to prove myself. During the meeting, I surprised everyone, including myself, by confidently communicating with the client. I didn't get every word perfect, but I managed to help the team understand what was needed. After the meeting, my boss thanked me and said, "You've really grown, Emily. Great job." I felt a mix of relief and pride. That moment opened the door to even more opportunities. Soon, I was helping with presentations, translating documents, and even leading calls with clients. My coworkers began seeing me as an asset to the team, and my self-esteem grew with every success. It felt incredible to contribute in ways I never thought possible. This first big step proved to me that learning English wasn't just about personal growth. It was about unlocking a future I never imagined. It gave me the courage to aim higher and showed me that I was capable of so much more than I had believed. As my English improved, my career started to transform. I applied for a position at a well-known interior design firm that worked with international clients. The interview was entirely in English, and though I was nervous, I walked in prepared and determined. To my surprise, the interviewer complimented my progress and said I had the skills they were looking for. When I got the job offer, I couldn't believe it. I went from struggling to make ends meet to being part of a global team. My new role involved presenting design concepts to international clients. And for the first time, I felt like I was truly living my dream. The hard work had paid off. The best part was that I could now provide Sophie with the life she deserved. I moved us to a better apartment, enrolled her in a good school, and even had enough money to save for her future. Seeing her smile every day reminded me that all the late nights and sacrifices were worth it. At work, I gained the respect of my colleagues and became a mentor to others who wanted to learn English. It was rewarding to help them on their journeys and share my story. I realized that my growth wasn't just about me. It was about inspiring others to believe in themselves too. Life changed dramatically for Sophie and me. With my new job and improved skills, we finally had stability and hope for the future. I started setting bigger goals, like working on international design competitions and traveling to different countries for work. Each day felt like a step toward a brighter future. Sophie was thriving too. She would often tell her friends, "My mom speaks English and works with people all over the world." Hearing her pride filled me with joy. We started planning trips together, dreaming of places we could visit. Learning English not only changed my career, but also created opportunities for Sophie to see the world. I also became more confident in other areas of life. I felt braver, more willing to take risks, and excited about what was ahead. I no longer feared challenges. Instead, I saw them as opportunities to grow. It was as if learning English had unlocked a part of me I didn't know existed. Our bond grew stronger through the journey. Sophie often said, "Mom, you're my hero," and I couldn't help but smile. She didn't just see the end result. She witnessed every step of the struggle and celebrated every success with me. Together, we were building a life full of possibilities. Looking back, I can hardly believe how far we've come. Learning English wasn't just about a language. It was about transforming my life and creating a better future for Sophie. It taught me resilience, patience, and the power of believing in myself, even when things felt impossible. The journey wasn't easy, but every challenge made me stronger. I went from feeling stuck and hopeless to achieving dreams I never thought were possible. Now, I want to inspire others to take that first step. No matter how old you are or where you start, it's never too late to learn and grow. If I could give one piece of advice, it would be this: don't let fear hold you back. The rewards of investing in yourself are worth every sacrifice. Whether it's learning English, pursuing a new skill, or chasing a dream, the journey will change you in ways you can't imagine. Today, I feel grateful for every late night and every tough moment because they led me to where I am now. And as I watch Sophie grow, I know she sees what's possible when we work hard and never give up. Learning English didn't just change my life. It gave us a new beginning.